Hello, 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 hello. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're catching the replay of this, thank you so much for that. I'm so glad that you're taking your time out of your busy schedule because you definitely didn't have to do that. But I want to say that whoever invited you to view this class, to view this video, must care about you a whole lot because this information literally changed my life, and I'm really excited to share that with you guys tonight. So as I start, I just want to take a moment to be grateful. And so if you are an oily person and you have gratitude, that is what I'm going to start with tonight. I'm going to put on some gratitude oil. I'm kind of nervous actually. I don't usually get nervous before videos. I don't know if that's because my kids are in the other room and they could potentially go crazy or what, but I'm putting on gratitude. I'd like you to put on gratitude, or if you have stress away or some other emotional oil that's just going to allow you to really be open and ready to learn tonight. So putting this on. I am grateful for my family. I am grateful for my business. I am grateful for my team. I am grateful for Lindsay Gramont, who is the woman who introduced me to this business. So I'm grateful for all those things and so much more. So I have some, where do I put it? I have some stuff I'm going to share with you guys tonight. I started my business a little bit under 4 years ago. It was actually April of 2014. Love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree. Whenever I lose signal, I sing to it and it comes back. So it's like, oh no, stop. All right, so I joined Young Living Essential Oils in April of 2014. So almost 4 years ago, not quite. And I actually was very, very hesitant to jump on board, and I definitely was not interested in the business aspect at first because it was a network marketing company. And I have seen, my mom was my first example of someone who tried network marketing, and she tried several different companies when I was a kid. I think one was photo albums, and then there were some supplements and just different ones that I never saw her succeed at. And so I just sort of assumed that they were all a scam. I'd seen other people try various companies. I'd attended parties for you know, dishes and kitchenware, for jewelry, for makeup, for purses, and I'd seen people doing this as a business, but I'd never seen anyone supporting themselves while they did it. I'd never seen anyone actually making a full-time income. So I kind of assumed it was just sort of something people did on the side, and I'd never had any interest in any of these companies because I definitely am the kind of person that has to be passionate about something, and I'm not passionate about purses. I'm not passionate about kitchenware, but there are some things I'm passionate about. So when I joined Young Living, it was kind of one of those things, like I really wanted the oils and I really wanted the starter kit, but I didn't want to become part of a network marketing company. I was just like, if I could maybe share it enough to get my oils paid for, great, but I'm not building a business. Heck no. Didn't want anything to do with what could potentially be a pyramid scheme, anything like that. So I got my oils and I really loved them. I mean, they worked amazingly well. You know, I have so many stories of just wonderful miracle experiences with them, and they happened really early on. It just made such a huge difference for my family. And so I started to think, well, you know, maybe I should share this. Maybe I should, I don't know, maybe I could do something. Maybe I can recommend it on my blog or just, you know, tell some of my friends about it. But what's funny is I didn't even tell my husband that I had joined. I told him I bought the oils, but I didn't tell him I had joined because I knew that he would be like not super thrilled with it. And it wasn't for a couple of months, until a couple of months after I joined, that I was in a group with where my enroller was on Facebook, and she shared, and she said, guys, I'm going to be really vulnerable here, and I'm going to tell you how much my check was this month. And she shared her check, and guys, it was for an ungodly amount, like unbelievable, more in that one check than I had made in a year. And I was like, say, whoa, what? I was really stunned because she was someone I knew in real life. She was a real person, and she had just made a check in 1 month that was more than I'd made in a year. And I was like, is this real life? Is this... I was just stunned. And so that really got me thinking. I was like, okay, I mean, what do I have to do this? And so I reached out to her, and I got into... trained a little bit, and just did whatever. I was very coachable, and I was very teachable, and I said, teach me what to do. And so I went through those steps, and I started sharing my project. I started educating people about essential oils, and within 6 months I hit the first leadership level, which afforded me a paycheck of about, I don't know, $2,300 or something. Not huge, but very significant for me, because I was previously a music teacher, and my husband had been amazing to say, you know what, now that we are having our 4th baby, you can stay home and homeschool our kids, because he knew that was something that was near and dear to my heart. And so he was working full-time. We went from 2 incomes to 1, and it was hard. If any of you have gone from 2 incomes down to 1 income, you know that it's hard, and supporting kids, it's hard. Like, kids ain't cheap. And so I was watching him work full time, and he was not just working 40 hours a week, but he was working 60 hours a week, 80 hours a week. He was commuting to and from work at a minimum of an hour each way. And he was traveling all the time. At the drop of a hat, he could start traveling, and we never knew when it was going to be. And I was just watching him just turn into this shell of the person that he was. He was so stressed out. He was so... I don't know if depressed is the right word, but he was just not himself. He wasn't fully living, and I was like, if he continues to do this, he's gonna have a heart attack. Like, I have to do something. And so when Young Living came along, it was just sort of an answer to prayer, like finally something that can maybe cushion that and make it so that he doesn't have to work so hard, and he doesn't feel pressured to put in so many extra hours. And as I started doing this, and I saw my enrollers checks, and as I saw the people around me succeeding and moving up quickly, I was like, oh my goodness, everybody can do this. I saw friends all around me who started to be able to put their kids in private school, or buy a house, or get a new car, or just who were no longer living paycheck to paycheck like so many of us had been desperate before and just in survival mode. And how suddenly we were working hard and like running businesses without any experience, and just doing the training and kind of learning as we went, and working just on passion and sheer belief that it was possible. And so I continued to work hard, and then within my first year, I matched my husband's income at his corporate advertising job. And that was the first time that he really took notice of it. That was the first time that he was like, oh, I guess, like before it was always like, oh yeah, you go teach your little oils classes. That's nice. Like, that's a fun hobby. And so for the first time, he was like, oh, wow. And I think that was the first time he really had hope that maybe he wouldn't have to work at this job that was sucking the soul out of him for the next 40 years, because honestly, he had lost hope. That's what had happened. He had lost hope. He was just looking, and he's like, this is the rest of my life. I'm a good husband and father, and I'm going to support my family even if it kills me. And so as that happened, we began to dream a little bit more. And for those of you who know me, you know where we're at, and you may follow our journey on Facebook. But for those that don't, I'll continue the story. So in June of 2016, last year, we bought a school bus. And no, it's not because we had like 80 children. We only have 5 children. But we bought a school bus, and we ripped out all the seats. We completely gutted it, and we turned it into a gorgeous, like, tiny home RV, because our dream is, or was, and is to travel full-time with our kids. And we spent a year converting it, and I continued working on my business, and I watched my income continue to rise to the point where my husband was able to quit his full-time job, and I more than replaced his income last April. Oh, and I need to post the income disclosure statement. If someone who's watching, if someone on my team is watching, and you guys could post the income disclosure statement on this thread, that'd be really helpful. It's www.youngliving.com/IDS. So if someone could post that on the thread, that'd be great. But my income continued to rise. He was able to quit his job in April, and as of June of this year, we moved out of our house. We sold all of our stuff except for like our really special things, which we put in storage, and now we're living on the road full-time. We're traveling. We went all the way up to northern Canada and have come down the west coast. We're currently in California, spending the holiday season with my sister-in-law, which is why I'm in the house right now, not a bus. And I'm so grateful, and it's really hard for me to believe that this is real life and that this is really happening, because if someone had told me 4 years ago, like, this is your future, I wouldn't have believed them. I honestly wouldn't have. Like, I taught music, and my husband worked in advertising, and I stayed home with my kids, and we were broke. Like, that was my reality 4 years ago, and it's so much different now. So I want to just tell you a little bit about network marketing, because it was so foreign to me and I hadn't heard anything positive about it really. But it's not what I thought it was, in such a good way, guys, in such a good way. So I'm gonna back up. Our society has taught us in our culture that in order to have a successful life, we have to go to school for 4 years so that we can then graduate and spend the next 40 years working 40 hours a week, so that then we can retire and be able to live on 40% of our income, and then like we've really made it. And while I loved college and I would go again in a heartbeat because it was such a wonderful experience, that picture that society has painted for us does not ring true for me. I'm 35 years old, and most of the people that I went to college with are still paying off their student loans. Most people that I went to college with thought they would be so much further along by their mid-30s. They thought they would like have it all together, and so many of them are still living paycheck to paycheck and just in survival mode. And guys, that's not the way it has to be, and it's so frustrating when I see people that had these big dreams and they shrink their dreams to fit their paycheck and to fit their bank account. And it crushes me when I see people just lose their passion and vision for life, because it's hard when life beats us down and when we fail again and again, and when we don't hit our goals and we don't make our dreams, we begin to lose hope. And we live in a society that's filled with people who have lost hope, and that's not okay. My personal mission is to bring hope and to bring life and to bring encouragement to the people around me and show them that there is a better way. And for some professions, going to college is an absolute necessity. For some professions, that's what you need to do. If you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a doctor, there are certain professions that you need college, and that's wonderful. I think a well-rounded education is a good thing. But there's so many people that go to college and have no idea what they want to do. They switch majors several times, and a lot of them end up dropping out or completing their degree, getting a job, and then realizing 5 years down the road that they hate what they're doing. And I'm going to show you a better way. Okay, so for a moment, we're gonna do a little exercise here, and if you think it's cheesy, that's okay. You don't have to do it, but if you do, you'll get way more out of this. So I am a firm believer that you get out of every experience what you put into it, and the more you put into it and the more you are present, the more you'll get out of it. So I want you to close your eyes, okay? And I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to imagine that you are going to your mailbox and you're checking your mailbox, and in the mailbox is an envelope, and you open it up and there's a check for $500. And that's your monthly check from a business you've started. And what would that do for your family? Would $500 extra make enough of a difference to make you pay attention? Like, would that maybe cover a car payment or the groceries or music lessons for a kid? Just think about what $500 could do for your family, okay? Now I want you to imagine that you go out to your mailbox and you open the mailbox and you pull out an envelope and you rip it open, and this time there's $1,000 in it. You're like, wow, okay, that's a step up from 500. And I want you to think about what that $1,000 would do for your family. If you live paycheck to paycheck, then I know what that's like, and $1,000 can make a huge difference between just being able to breathe, not having to worry about whether you can afford groceries or not having to worry about if a check is going to clear and because you don't have the money in the bank, just being able to breathe. You know, for $1,000, for some people that would cover their mortgage. Now I want you to imagine that you go out to your mailbox and you open it up. You take it out and you rip it open, and that there's a check for $5,000. And that this isn't a one-time check. This is your monthly income that you get every single month for working your home business. And just imagine what that would do for your family, and would that allow you to live any differently? Would that allow you to make any better choices? Would that allow you to maybe eat organic food if you can't currently afford to do that? Would that allow you to be generous, and when the plate comes around or when you hear that someone is in need, would you be able to give without having to think about it? Now I want you to imagine again that you go out to your mailbox and there's an envelope inside it, and you rip it open, and this time there's a check for $20,000. And this is not a one-time, like you sold your car and this came in the mail. This is not a tax refund. This is your monthly income. And I want you to think about not only what would this do for your family, because your family probably doesn't need $20,000 a month, but what good are you going to and able to do in the world with that kind of money? And I want you to think about that, because a lot of us, we don't ever even think that big, because we're afraid, and we can't give the way we want to because we're afraid. If we gave as much as our hearts are calling us to give, if we gave that abundantly, then there might not be enough for us. There might not be enough for our kids. Imagine what it would be like to be able to give abundantly without counting the cost. Now I could continue this visualization on and on, but I want you to take a deep breath, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I want you to think about that. Now, I was raised in a family where we were poor, and there was very much a poverty mindset, a mindset of there's not enough, a mindset of scarcity and clinging on to the money when it came. And that is a cycle that I am breaking for my family. That is not continuing on. I want to be able to live in a world and create an environment in my family where my answer to my kids is not, we can't afford that, but we're choosing to do this with our money, or this is what we're choosing to do with our money. I want to create an environment where generosity is just a given, that participating in charity and being able to give to the poor is just a given. That's just what we do, because that's the kind of people we are. So I'm going to show you some math. And this is kind of taken from the book, The 4-Year Career, which if you haven't read it, really fleshes out and gives a lot more details to what I'm talking about tonight. It's really, really good. It's by Richard Blissbrook, who's one of my favorite authors and speakers. Such an amazing and genuine, authentic man. So we're going to talk about the math of what this looks like, okay? Because some of you are like, oh, that felt so good, and others of you are like, okay, well, yeah, that's nice, but that's impossible. It's not. It's not impossible. I'm going to show you how it works. I made a poster. What? You guys really proud of me? Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this. So I want you to think about the fact, here's you, right here. Okay, so real quick, imagine that you found something that you were so passionate about sharing that you could just share it with anyone and everyone. And imagine that even if you were still working your full-time job, or even if you were staying home with your kids full-time, you could share it enough that you could do $500 a month in volume, and that means sales. So that means with Young Living, you might share it, you'd buy your own oils and then you would share it with 4 other people each month. Or maybe you and 1 other person each bought 250. Whatever it is, you are going to reach $500 in volume, which some of you can do way more than that. And some of you may do a little bit less, but on average, that is really reasonable for anyone who is even halfway serious about their business, okay? So that's you. You doing $500 in volume right there. And honestly, this might all be backwards, but you're just going to have to trust me now that I'm looking at it. Oh, this is backwards. So your goal, in order to turn this from a normal business that's like brick and mortar business where you're trading your dollars or hours, is to turn this into a residual income. Okay? And some of you know what residual income is, but I'm going to flesh it out and explain it for those of you who don't know what residual income is. Residual income is an income that is going to come in regardless of, like, you do work once and then it continues to pay forward. So a good example of that people are familiar with is buying like rental houses, property. So if you buy a house once and you spend the money to get it all paid off and fixed up or whatever, you can then rent it out. And yes, you're still going to have to do upkeep on that, but every month you're going to be getting residual income from that house, okay? And if you wanted to have a residual income that you could live off of, so let's just say $5,000 a month. To get $5,000 a month, you would have to have $1 million worth of homes just to get the rent, because it's 5% 5% of your property value or what's in the bank. So let's say you owned 4 $250,000 houses. The total rent that you would get from those would be about $5,000. Okay, so if you build a business in network marketing and you're making a $5,000 check, you're getting, that is residual income that is going to keep coming to you no matter what. And what I love about residual income is that if I have a baby and I take a month off, or if I get really, really sick and I can't work my business, that money continues to come every month no matter what. If something happens to me and if I die, that money continues to come to my family every single month. Guys, that is powerful. That is powerful. Residual income is the difference between you becoming really passionate about selling, like say maybe you're passionate about non-toxic products. So you go and you start making homemade soaps and lotions and you take them to the local farmer's market and you sell them. Then you are going to, they're probably going to be amazing. People are going to buy them. You're going to become really popular and you're going to continue selling those. But what's going to happen is you become more popular. In order to make more money and for your income to go up, number one, you have to show up there every single week with those soaps. And number two, you have to start making more and more soap. You're trading your hours for dollars and you're working with addition. What I want to teach you how to do is work with multiplication, where you do the work once and it continues to pay you again and again. Okay, so let's go back to this. You do that $500 a month in sales, and I'm sorry, it's backwards. It's just the way it is. So with residual income, you're going to build a team. And so I'm going to work this up to the level I'm at. I am a platinum, and if you want to see what the average platinum income is, you can go to the www.youngliving.com/IDS, and you can see what the average platinum income is. To be a platinum, I have to have 4 builders, 4 legs on my team, okay? That's 4 people that I have to find that are just as passionate about this as I am, who are willing to work and share this and build their own team and share the products on a regular basis. And if I do that, and if I find 4 people that are able to do that, they're going to be able to each do 500. It's going to be give or take. Some are going to do more than 500, some are going to do less, but they're each going to do 500 in volume, just like me. And that's going to be 2,000 in volume, okay? Add my 500 in volume, and then suddenly we're at 2,500 in volume. I've reached another rank with Young Living at 2,500. Actually, that would be Senior Star with a little more. And I'm doing pretty good. At that point, my oils are paid for, okay? But each of them is going to be working on finding their 4 builders, okay? And that means there's going to be 16 more people on the team. If each of those 16 people just does 500 in volume, some are going to do more, some are going to do less, but on average, if each of them does 500 in volume, that's $8,000 a month. Plus the 2,500 from these people over here, that's $10,500 a month. Okay, that's a silver income of about that you're going to be making from the commissions from that are going to be about $2,300 on average, according to the income disclosure statement. Okay, so that's awesome, right? So down the road, each of these 16 people is looking for 4 more people that are passionate about this and want to share the business too. Okay, and that's where, I'm going to stand up here, that's where we get this number. 16 times 4 is 64. Those 64 people are doing $32,000 in volume, and that's just because they're doing 500 each. You don't have one rock star that's doing way more than anyone else. It's all give or take 500. That is 32,000 plus the 10,500 plus the 10,500 that we had from over here, and that puts you up at 42,500. That is above the gold volume that you need, and golds make about $6,000 a month. Okay, so let's expand it out a little bit further. If you take those 64 people and each of those people finds 4, this is where the multiplication gets really awesome. Suddenly you have 256 people on your team, at each doing only 500 a month. That's 128,000 in volume, plus the 42,500 from over here. You're at 170,500. You're well above platinum, and the average income for platinum is something like $14,000. Guys, do you see how multiplication is better than addition? All right, so let's take it a step higher to see what a diamond income looks like. Okay, so down here, those 256 people each find 4 people. That's 1,024 people, each doing only 500 in volume each. That's 512,000 plus our 170,000. Suddenly you've got 682,500 in volume. Okay, that's well above a diamond income, diamond volume, and diamonds make something like 30,000 a month. You'll have to look at the income disclosure statement to see exactly. But do you guys see the power that is in that? Do you see the power in those numbers? Now, does that mean that the first 4 people you say, hey, do you want to do this business with me? Does that mean they're going to say yes? Maybe, maybe not. But do you think out of all of the people you know, out of everybody you know, do you think it's possible to find 4 people that are just as passionate as you are? Do you think it's possible to find 4 people that could catch this vision? Abso-freaking-lutely. That is absolutely possible. And when they do catch the vision and you work together, then you're no longer working with addition, you're working with multiplication, and it starts to really, really pick up speed like a snowball. It's incredible. And this is my reality. I am sharing this because I didn't believe it's possible, and I want you to know from someone that you know that this is possible, that it is real, and that you can do it. There is no reason why this isn't possible for anybody to do. And it just takes belief and hustle and being coachable and teachable. And if you're on my team, you have everything you need. We give you so many resources, and we make ourselves available to step you through this. If you've been invited here tonight, you need to reach out to whoever invited you, and you need to thank them for inviting you and showing you this opportunity. And if this is something that resonates with you, then ask them, okay, how do I get started? The one thing that you'll find is that with network marketing, it's very inexpensive to get started compared to brick and mortar businesses. You know, brick and mortar businesses, you put up, you know, thousands and thousands. Say you wanted to start a franchise, you'd put up $75,000 and you may not be profitable for the first year. With network marketing businesses, you can get started from anywhere from like $160 to $1,000, and you can begin building an income immediately. Guys, this is amazing. And I am so incredibly grateful to the woman who introduced me to this, because it has literally changed my life. And for a long time, I was kind of afraid of like, what would people think? Are people going to judge me? Are people going to think I'm salesy or pushy? And guys, I'm to the point, I don't care. I don't care, because I have this gift, and there are too many people that are struggling. There are too many people that are hurting and just barely surviving and just barely getting by. And I have a duty to share this with people and show them that there's a lifeboat, that there's a better way, and that we can help them. So as a takeaway from this, I want you to be thinking about the people you know and who needs to hear this, who needs hope. Who can you share this with that this would make a huge difference in their life? Who can you cast a vision for? Who can you say to them, I believe in you. I don't know if this is something that would be a good fit for you, but I would love to do this with you. I would love to have you on my team because you're amazing and you're awesome and you're worthy of so much more. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this tonight. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Feel free to share this video. I'll probably be putting it on YouTube, so it has an easy share link. I hope you all have a wonderful and very, very blessed night.